Lord of the Flies is a novel that deals with themes of human nature, morality, civilization versus savagery, order versus chaos, and it posits the question whether human beings innately possess the capacity for cruelty and barbarity. Hello and welcome to my plot summary video for Lord of the Flies. In this video, I'm going to unpack the plot of the novel and look at the context surrounding the book and its author, William Golding. If you're new to my channel, I break down plot summaries for a number of classroom novels, so be sure to like and subscribe. Let's begin. Lord of the Flies begins with a plane crashing onto a desert island, with the only survivors being a group of young schoolboys. With no adult survivors, the boys are forced to assemble themselves as they wait to be rescued. Two of the boys, Ralph and Piggy, discover a conch shell and realize that they can use it as a horn to summon the rest of the surviving boys. And side note, sorry SpongeBob fans, it's pronounced conch, not conch. Once together as a group, the boys decide to choose a leader, with Jack and Ralph putting themselves forward as contenders. Jack is tall, arrogant, and already the leader of the young boys in the choir. However, the group chooses the handsome, blonde, and charismatic Ralph as their chief. Jack is visibly humiliated, so Ralph extends an olive branch, appointing Jack as the leader of the group's dedicated hunters. After Ralph, Jack, and Simon explore the island, Ralph declares that a signal fire must be lit to attract the attention of passing ships. The group uses the lenses of Piggy's glasses to ignite their fire, but the group soon become preoccupied with playing games, and the fire gets wildly out of control, presumably killing one of the young boys. However, the young boys continue to play their childish games, while Ralph continues to insist that building shelters and maintaining the signal fire should be their priorities. Meanwhile, Jack and his group of hunters become increasingly preoccupied with hunting. When a ship passes by one day, Piggy and Ralph are shocked to find that the signal fire had burned out. The two boys responsible for maintaining the fire had been retasked by Jack as part of his latest hunting expedition. Upon returning from their expedition, Ralph attempts to confront Jack about his negligence, but he is dismissive of Ralph's scolding. Jack's group of hunters have returned with a dead pig, and they are gripped with a strange frenzy. The hunters begin reenacting the kill, while Piggy publicly admonishes Jack for his failures. Jack hits Piggy in the face, and Ralph responds by blowing the conch shell to restore order. During the following meeting, it becomes clear that a number of the boys are becoming scared, afraid of an unknown monster or beast lurking on the island. Not long after the meeting, a dead man with a parachute falls from a plane onto the island while the boys are sleeping. Two of the younger boys wake to see the large silhouette of the parachute, and they hear it violently flapping in the wind before they rush back to camp to report that the beast has attacked them. The boys organize a hunting expedition to find the beast. Ralph and Piggy see the parachute from a distance, thinking it looks like a deformed ape, before reporting it to the rest of the group. During the meeting, Jack calls Ralph a coward and declares that Ralph should no longer be chief. The group of boys is reluctant to vote Ralph out as leader, however, and Jack angrily storms away in protest, rallying the hunters to him. Ralph begins organizing the remaining boys to start a new signal fire, but they slowly begin slipping away to join Jack. Jack declares himself the chief of his new tribe of hunters and organizes a violent hunt to celebrate the occasion. The hunters decapitate a pig and place its head on a sharpened stake in the jungle as an offering to the beast. During the feast, Piggy and Ralph reluctantly join the group to share the food. Meanwhile, one of the more introverted and reclusive boys, Simon, has a vision in which the decapitated pig's head speaks to him, a voice he ascribes to the Lord of the Flies. Simon wanders off and finds the dead parachutist, and he begins to realize that the monster does not exist externally in the jungle, but rather it's a more metaphoric beast that lives within each of the boys. Simon then heads to the beach to share his newfound understanding with the group. In the midst of the tribe's chaotic, bloodthirsty hunting celebration, the boys attack Simon's shadowy figure emerging from the jungle. The group descends upon Simon, killing him with their bare hands and teeth. The following morning, Ralph and Piggy come to terms with what happened, while Jack's hunters steal Piggy's glasses so they can control the fire. Ralph attempts to make Jack see reason, but Jack chooses violence, electing to fight with Ralph. During the savage battle, one of the boys rolls a boulder down the mountain, killing Piggy and smashing the conch shell in the process. Ralph manages to escape amongst a barrage of spears and hides for the remainder of the night. Jack and his tribe begin to hunt Ralph like an animal, using fire to smoke him out of the jungle. Out of options, Ralph is forced onto the beach where he collapses in exhaustion before he looks up to see a British naval officer. The officer looks on in astonishment at what the group of boys have become, before the boys begin sobbing and the officer looks away in embarrassment. The story is an allegory for human nature, and it asks us to reflect on whether an innate savagery exists in us all. Once the idea of rescue is forgotten by most of the boys, cruelty and barbarity begin to emerge. Without the influence of order and civilization that Ralph's leadership represents, the boys quickly plunge into chaos and savagery, spearheaded by Jack and his bloodlust. Now, for a bit of author context. Okay, so Lord of the Flies was published in 1954 by British author William Golding. Golding was an English teacher, a poet, a playwright, and he served in the British Royal Navy during World War II before eventually publishing his debut novel, Lord of the Flies. Golding's involvement in World War II and his background as a teacher were clearly influential on his writing, and his own personal beliefs about human nature are illuminated in Lord of the Flies. Golding believed that many novels had created an unrealistic depiction of stranded children, and he famously asked his wife, "Would it be a good idea if I wrote a book about children on an island? Children who behave in the way children would really behave?" And that's exactly what he set about doing. Golding received a great deal of praise for the novel in the years following its release. Lord of the Flies has a very respectable 3.7 rating on Goodreads and is ranked highly in many greatest novel of all time lists. The book has since gone on to become a classroom favourite around the globe and well renowned as a classic piece of literature. And for many of you, that's probably why you're watching this video. I hope you enjoyed this plot summary for Lord of the Flies, and I hope this breakdown has been useful for you. Be sure to check out my other videos on the symbolism used in the novel and my other plot summary videos. Cheers.